As you can tell, we have a bit of unboxing to do. Welcome to the GameSmith's new unboxing series. In our very first episode, we're going to be starting with the City of Lost Omens set from the Pathfinder Battle series. Now, to be fair, this isn't just an unboxing video, but it's also got some reviewing material in it. After all, I've never met a gamer who was shy about sharing their opinions about the things they liked and disliked. We have our case of WizKids miniatures for the City of Lost Omens set. On the inside of the case, we have 4 bricks of 8 booster boxes each, for a total of 32 boxes. The case itself retails on the Paizo website for $399.99, which makes this a pricey purchase for those of us not in the United States. We'll start by removing the plastic packaging from our first brick. The City of Lost Omens set was cast for use with Pathfinder's 2nd edition adventure paths, namely the Age of Ashes, the Extinction Curse, and the Agents of Edgewatch. Next, we'll open the booster box and see what's inside. It would be helpful if you checked if the plastic packing material is recyclable in your area before you throw it away. Oh nice, out of the first box is a large-sized miniature. This Pathfinder battle set comes with 44 based miniatures and 6 non-based dungeon dressing accessories. So by now you get the idea that we're opening these one at a time, and now you get to see all the minis. The first mini is the ABSALOM Watch Cadet. There are a few types of this mini in the set, but we'll look at each in turn. The Watch Cadet is a decent sculpt of a human holding a baton and a shield. The edgework of the painting is not that crisp, and the colors bleed together, which is quite distracting when the hair is painted flesh color. On the plus side, however, the painted icons of ABSALOM on the mini are quite striking, and the small crests on the uniform are very easy to see. Next is our HELLSPAWN ADEPT, who is a tiefling given that she has tiny black horns on her forehead and a tail under her cloak. I think that the robe looks great, especially in the wrinkles. The staff is also looking good with the red jeweled pommel. The pose cries out to be used as a player character. However, as you can see for yourself, the paint lines are not smooth and the green from the cloak splashed on the staff. Third in the collection is the GIMMERLING from the 2nd edition Bestiary, or Beastery, depending on which side of that argument you come down on, and is mounted on a small base. These are evil urban fae, which I think is a cool idea, and so is the action pose of the miniature. However, the obvious mold lines and the sickly green tint doesn't really help sell the miniature. Next is the always cute leaf LESHY on the small base, which are a playable race in both Pathfinder editions. I like the sculpt of this miniature, but the leaning forward pose hides the miniature's best features. I think this mini would make a great NPC guide through the wilds. To be honest folks, I didn't know what this was when I first saw the miniature. The paint job on the head made me think this was a vulture or a bird of some kind. It wasn't until my brain registered the tail and the shape of the legs that I thought RATFOLK. I think the pose is good and the hand crossbow is a nice addition. But that's all I can say about this miniature that isn't a disappointment. I hope that there are other versions of this mini out there that turned out better than this one. For 1st edition Pathfinder fans, we have an Aasimar with shiny metallic hair. In 2nd edition, this is an Angelkin, which is a type of planar Scion. This armor looks great, and the addition of the holy symbol on the shield announces Paladin of Sarenrae. If I had to find something to be critical of with this mini, it would be the sculpt of the face, and a few issues with the paint job. Otherwise, this is my favorite mini from this set so far. This Angry Lawn Bowler is a particularly nice sculpt. Because the bomb in the hand is the same color as the glove, I didn't even notice it until I read the name of the mini included the word Bombadier. A lot of people pronounce the name of these beings as DUERGAR. However, I say it as DUERGAR. If you have an opinion about this, please share it in the comments below. The leather straps on the chest, the bracers, the beard, and the cloak are all great looking details to me. The next mini is the DUERGAR Sharpshooter, and this is now my favorite mini in the City of Lost Omens set. The details on the chainmail and armored boots is terrific, and I would even use this mini as a regular dwarf character. The business end of the crossbow is a bit sketchy, but I'm very happy with this miniature. This should be the minimum standard of production. This Tengu Rogue is our first uncommon miniature. I'd like to see more of these miniatures given how popular they are around my table in a Skull and Shackles adventure path. The weapons, chainmail armor, and the claws are sufficiently detailed to make me like this sculpt, but the paint job is not up to the standards we should expect for miniatures at this price point. Here's another playable ancestry in both 1st and 2nd edition Pathfinder. The IRUXI in 2nd edition are known as lizard folk in 1st edition. This miniature exceeds my expectations, especially in the detail on the shield, armor, and wraps. Even the underside of the shield looks great. There are only 2 IRUXI miniatures in this set, and I unboxed only these 2, which is rather strange considering these are a common miniature. I'm disappointed not only because the sculpt is great and the paint job in this mini is really good, but more of them would make an awesome encounter. This miniature is mislabeled as a low Atlanti, which I'm presuming should be Aslanti. Also, given the webbed hand, the trident, and the clothing style of this miniature, I'm presuming it's a Gilman. I like the sculpture of this mini, and the trident looks cool too. The paint job could be better, especially around the skirting, but that seems to be a common theme. This XULGATH SKULKER is more commonly known as a troglodyte in 1st edition Pathfinder. Overall, I think this is a decent miniature. The sculpt, the pose, and the paint job are all okay for the game table. The only issue I have with this miniature is that the loincloth looks like a full diaper, which spoils the illusion of a scary monster. However, the XULGATH stench ability does seem rather apropos. Here's the 2nd XULGATH sculpt. Number 13 in the set is the XULGATH Warrior. Armed with a club and javelins, this mini is quite different from the XULGATH SKULKER, and I'm glad I ended up with half a dozen of these 2 sculpts in the case that I purchased. Between the 2 XULGATH miniatures we've seen so far, I prefer this one. There is a rare XULGATH Chief that will make an appearance later. Next we have an uncommon ABSALOM Cadet that is the exact same sculpt as the first Cadet we saw. This specific miniature is painted better than the first version of the Watch Cadet. However, I did find it irksome that the exact same sculpt was used with 2 separate miniatures, and only the heads were changed. I think it's likely that this was done as a cost-saving measure, but given the price tag for the case, I'm not terribly happy about it. And speaking of not being happy with duplicated sculpts, we have the uncommon version of the HELLSPAWN Adept. Once again, we're given the exact same miniature as our common HELLSPAWN Adept, except for a spell effect has been added to the previously open hand. While the spell effect is nice to look at, it should have had its own miniature sculpt to go with it. Next we have a CATFOLK POUNCER. When I saw this mini, I had no idea what it was until I read the name. The sculpt on this miniature is good, but the painting is, let's say, not as good. Here's the computer concept artwork for the Cat Pouncer from the Paizo website. And I realize that the concept and the final product are rarely the same, but yeah, I don't think I'm going to say any more about this. If you're a player or a GM who's been waiting for this mini, I hope you can find a better painted version than the mini I received. Number 17 in the set is the Changeling Exile, which I think looks a lot like a barbarian or a druid. Changelings are a playable race in both editions of Pathfinder. My favorite thing about this mini are the tattoos, especially those on the face, which I think is this mini's best feature. This DHAMPIR wizard is among the best of the miniatures in this case so far. The sculpt is right out of the artwork from the 2nd edition Bestiary 1. The paint job for the most part stays crisp and detailed, and the translucent staff has a definite magical feel to it. I know a player from one of my games that will be clamoring to get this miniature. Our third DUERGAR is not actually holding a gold skull and spine, which is what I thought the DUERGAR Taskmaster was holding. It's actually a religious symbol on a chain. Just like its predecessors, the armor sculpt is well done, including the details in the chainmail and the belt buckle. The painting is also very well done. The handle on the maul should be painted to look like wood, and the lips on the mini look like the Taskmaster was kissing a black pudding. But other than that, I'm quite happy with this mini. Next we have the DUSKWALKER Ghost Hunter, which is another type of planar Scion. The sculpt is very action-oriented, but once again the painting leaves me quite bewildered, even after we look at the original image that the miniature was based on. The second common lizardfolk miniature is the IRUXI STARGAZER. Despite the mold lines that are clearly visible up the sides of this mini, it otherwise looks good. The Stargazers are spellcasters, which explains the awkward pose, but the paint job reveals the scaly skin and its serpentine features. This awesome looking miniature is a knight of the AEON Star, who were the guards of the Atlanti emperors. All the Atlanti IOUN technology and history from 1st edition Pathfinder has been rebranded as AEON, AEON, for 2nd edition Pathfinder. However, that has little to do with the fact that this is now my favorite mini in the City of Lost Omens set. The details on the texture on the armor are clear, and the crystalline sword is reminiscent of Eridan's famed sword, the Aslanti Diamond. My only issue with this mini is the painting of the facial features. The eyes appear to be crossed, and the eyebrows should logically be the same color as the figure's hair, but I can overlook these minor issues. Here's the next uncommon miniature, a harpy. The cool thing about this harpy is it's a male version of this feral creature. The sculpt is clean, especially the feathers on the wings, and the action pose is very clear. However, the tops of the wings do look like they've been clipped off and are shorter than they should be. We have another pair of miniatures in the ABSALOM Watch Officer that is using the exact same sculpt with only the heads being changed. The pose and features of this mini are well done. There's a lot of ornamentation on this member of the ABSALOM Watch, and it's obvious that this fellow isn't a cadet. The miniature is numbered as 24A, and the head is sporting a Garibaldi-style beard. Miniature number 24B is the second ABSALOM Watch Officer. With the exception of the head, this sculpt is the same as 24A, although I think this mini has a much better paint job on the ornamentation. I think these watch officers are great minis, but once again I find it very irksome that we pay full price for miniatures that are fundamentally the same thing. Here is the CHU'ULOTHI, the only large base creature for the first 25 minis, and the one we started with. You may remember the CHU'UL are in 1st edition Pathfinder, and their appearance is a bit different from this sculpt. The detail on this miniature is fabulous. The painting is by far the best that I've seen in this set. The pose is aggressive and monstrous too. I think we'll pause on a positive note, and thank you very much for watching the GameSmith's first unboxing video. We're always interested in your feedback here at the GameSmith, so please leave a comment. You can look forward to part 2 of this video soon, so until then, check out some of our other great content. If you'd like to support us here at the GameSmith, there are a number of ways you can do that. If you haven't already subscribed, now is a great time. Join us on social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Check out our website at thegamesmith.org. Read our free monthly blog and listen to our podcast. Finally, you can join Patreon, which gives you access to content like our podcasts and exclusive videos. Your support in any form is much appreciated. Until next time, I'll see you at the table.